Good morning, children. Now, today we are going to see the ways of reducing friction. Here, sometimes it is required to reduce friction. Friction can be reduced by the following four ways. So, we have four ways of reducing friction. So, by making the surfaces smooth. Secondly, by use of lubricants. Third is by the use of ball bearings. Fourthly, by streamlining. We are going to see each in detail. First one, by making the surfaces smooth. The surfaces are made smooth by polishing them. This is also achieved by rubbing the surfaces with sandpaper and emery powder. Roads are cemented to make them smooth. Secondly, by use of lubricants, friction in machines is reduced by lubrication. Oil and grease are the commonly used lubricants. Oil or grease is applied between the moving parts of the machine. This fills the fine pores or depressions in the surfaces and thus reduces friction. Sometimes we use solid lubricants in the form of powder. We spread fine powder on the carom board to reduce friction between the coins and the board. By the use of ball bearings, third one, rolling friction is much less than the sliding friction which we have already studied. Therefore, in place of wheels and axles, we use ball bearings to reduce friction. Now about streamlining, fourth one. Like solids, the liquids and gases also offer friction to the bodies moving through them. Gases offer less friction than the liquids, while liquids offer less friction than the solids. The motion of a boat is slowed down by water. The motion of an aeroplane is slowed down by air. The friction experienced by the body moving in a liquid or a gas can be reduced by giving a special shape to the body. This process of giving shape with pointed ends is called streamlining. Here, children, we have the example with picture. The arrow with a sharp tip experience less friction in air. Now see here, one boy is carrying a bow with a sharp tip. One boy is carrying a bow with a flat tip. So whose arrow will move faster, means goes to a longer distance with a sharp edged, because the force of friction is less on the sharp tip. That means it is having less friction than the blunt arrow. One more example. While diving, the swimmer lets his hands enter the water first, followed by his head and body, so as to reduce the friction between himself and water. The shape of the boat, car, aeroplane, train, etc. is designed to be streamlined, means giving the sharp edged. What we have seen about streamlining definition, the process of giving shape with pointed ends is called streamlining. I repeat, this process or the process of giving shape with pointed ends is called streamlining. In nature, the shape of fish and bird is streamlined so that they can be easily moved in water or air. See the shape pointed, and here the aeroplane shape is also pointed, then the fish and the bird. Now we'll see the advantages. Children, it is often thought that friction is a nuisance. So whenever we want to move an object, with a little push, if it moves, our energy will not be used more, and the work is also less. But suppose if we want to use more force, our energy is used more. So it is often thought that friction is a nuisance and it should be reduced to a minimum. However, a frictionless world would not at all be convenient. Most of our daily activities of life depend on the existence of friction. Some such examples are given below. In absence of friction, we would not be able to walk on road. It is the reaction of the force of friction which makes us move ahead. When the road becomes wet after rain, friction is reduced and hence the road becomes slippery. We slip on icy roads or polished smooth surfaces. The wheels of the vehicles would fail to rotate without moving ahead if there is no friction between the wheels and the ground. Fifthly, friction helps in supporting a ladder inclined to a wall. Without friction, objects would slide off a table unless it is perfectly horizontal. It would be difficult to sit on a chair without friction or brush our teeth using a toothbrush. Eighthly, brakes in a vehicle work because of the friction between the brake lining and the drum of the wheel. Ninth one, friction is necessary to burn a matchstick. 10th, it is due to friction that we can write on a board by a chalk. The above examples show that some friction is necessary for our daily activities. Now children, ways of reducing friction. We have seen that friction is necessary to some extent. Friction can be increased by the following three ways. By making the surfaces smooth. Rough surfaces have a better grip on each other. So sometimes sand is sprinkled on surfaces to make them rough. Secondly, by using dry surfaces. Dry surfaces have more friction while wet surfaces have less friction. So surfaces are dried. Thirdly and lastly, by increasing the weight. By increasing the weight of the moving body, friction increases, which develops a better grip between the body and the surface on which the body moves. Thank you, children.